At one point, when my father was renovating one of our houses, there were dozens of black widows coming out of a wall, which was
Came to the wrong neighborhood.
It was kind of terrifying, honestly.
You were in the room and he just said, "You hold them off," and he ran off. Keep them occupied while I get my gun, son.
A swarm of spiders is infinitely worse than a single spider.
It sort of is, really. You try to escape one and the others just start circling around you like a motorcycle gang. Before you know it, you're sitting there in a fetal position on the floor and they're just walking in circles around you, jeering at you. Yeah, not so big now, are you? What's wrong, human? Afraid of getting a bit bitten?
It's more the visual effect in that it's almost like they're not animals. It's just like a force of darkness coming for you.
Your spiders emerging in the millions from the wall, coming like a blanket towards you. Any arachnophobes listening, I'm terribly sorry.
That'd be me.
Now I'm kind of thinking of Uncharted 3, which had spider puzzles.
Uncharted 3 had many weird things.
I really like the spider puzzles, though. And also, the genies were kind of odd.
Kind of odd. Seriously, why is it that every Uncharted game has to, in the final act, reveal about, like, well, there's Nazi zombies. No, there are Smurf jetties. No, there are genies with spider powers. Come on. The game was completely devoid of the supernatural up until this point, and now you drop this shit on us. And why is it a twist in every game? I mean, come on.
I don't know.
Well, the twist in Uncharted 3 was
Indiana Jones.
Oh,
yes.
The twist in Uncharted 3 was actually that Drake was just high, and he was thinking that all of those dudes were just genies.
Fucking genius! He just breaks their necks and shoots them in the face. Then he comes out, oh no, they were actually humans! Oh, thank God. And he just walks away. The joke is that Nathan Drake is a complete sociopath, by the way.
You didn't even think to ask them for wishes.
Yeah, I mean, that would be the first thing I do. I would be like, holy shit, genies. Do I get one wish from every genie or 3 wishes from every genie? That would be sort of great. How many are you? There's like a dozen of you. Do I get 36 wishes? That would be sort of cool.
They always say you can't wish for more wishes, but they don't say you can't wish for another genie or another magic lamp.
My father just started raging when he saw that the genies could shoot fire out of their hands.
That's not how genies are supposed to work, damn it. This is against the rules.
He was also freaking out because he thought that the genies had rocket launchers.
Rocket launcher genies, holy shit, here we go. The most dangerous enemy has been unlocked.
Also, he got really depressed when that one scene happened. You know that one, right?
Because he identifies with him, I suspect.
No, the one with Sully.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was also kind of depressed about Sully because he was great.
Man.
Well, I haven't played that game, but I can infer that Sully dies. Is this the case?
Well,
play the game to find out.
Well, it looks like Sully dies, but actually he is fine, and Drake was just high.
That's such a cop-out.
Sort of is. I actually saw Uncharted 3 being beaten live on stream. Yeah. And I'm not going to say who was streaming. It is a rather famous, something of a streamer though. And in one part of the game, you're supposed to find a golden hind. And the problem is that the streamer in question had no idea what a hind was, because the only hind he was familiar with was, of course, the hind helicopter. So he and like half of the stream chat were just walking around and they had no idea what that meant. And I repeatedly saw a golden hind, that is a female deer's head, sitting on a pillar. And once he's passed it by like 3 times, I noticed in the stream chat that you might want to look up. And he starts walking around checking the ceiling instead. And I finally go, check the pillars. The pillars, and then he goes to the pillar, and then he goes, oh! Hind! Man, do I look stupid.
I'll be
I didn't know that a hind could mean a female deer up until this point.
That is where the name comes from. That's the thing.
I thought it was from in Metal Gear Solid 3 when they, saw the helicopters and.
But they even explain there why they call it the hind, though. Seriously, watch the scene. One of the Russian helicopters already has a deer-based code name, but because the Hind D is smaller, they decide to call it the Hind.
Ah, now I get it.
My god, for fuck's sake. I am angry about hinds.
See, I thought a female deer was called a doe.
Yes, it is, but not the small ones. Basically, it's a classification thing. Actually, speaking of hind helicopters, why the hell is it that every game in the history of games ever only uses a Hind D? I mean, every time there's an attack helicopter within quotation marks, it's always a Hind D. Well, the Hind is actually not specifically an attack helicopter, but more of a attack and support helicopter. It's supposed to carry 8 soldiers aboard. So, I mean...
Maybe it's just easier to...
Are the guys on it, or was that the old thing they had? I don't know. I just wish that they could, update themselves a bit, because, I mean, the Russians use all kinds of badass helicopters. Like the Crocodile, I mean, come on. They have the Crocodile and the Shark. Who cares about Hinds? We can have a freaking Shark helicopter. I mean, just imagine you're running through, an urban area with this gunfire and shit in a COD game, and somebody goes, "Holy shit, watch out, there's a shark!" And you look up and there's a giant black helicopter coming at you. It has a shark face on the front. And yes, also I know that it's officially called the Black Shark under the NATO classification. Jeez. But there's actually more than one shark helicopter.
Searching for shark helicopter brings you to the Wikipedia article for helicopter shark, which was a fake photograph circulated in 2001 of a shark attacking a guy on a helicopter.
Oh yeah, that one. Did you mean the meme is probably going to be Google's new Did You Mean X? You search for Nicolas Cage and you'll get my hair is a bird, your argument is invalid as your first result. It has already begun.
Could I say something about my... about the U.S. history education that I got when I was in elementary school?
No, it is not allowed.
Sure.
Actually, please do go right ahead.
A lot of the time, spent a lot of the time talking about how how Benedict Arnold was really terrible and evil, and how when George Washington won the war, he refused the title of king because he was so great and amazing, and he only went for 2 terms, and now there are only 2 terms because everyone respected him that much. It was...
Idolatry in U.S. history? What are you talking about?
It was not quite as bad as what Mason Williams wrote, at least.
George Washington, aka the guy that went into the Revolutionary War having nothing but defeats behind him, and said, "Don't worry, bro, I got this." I mean...
and also...
Come on. I mean, why would you pick that guy? I mean, I realized that they wanted the support of Virginia, and since he was a plantation owner in Virginia, he was a great pick, because it would mean that the Virginians would, you know, basically sell a fort behind him. But if you looked at his military careers, it was like, okay, so you lost, you had to surrender, you lost, you surrendered, you lost. Okay. Well, you know what, we're just going to bet all of our ships on you to lead the Revolutionary Army to, you know, free us from the joke of taxes.
Taxation without representation, you know?
Yeah, especially since the colonies paid the lowest tax in the entire British Empire. And the colonies were being run at a loss at the time, because the military power needed to keep them safe actually cost more than the taxes brought in, which is why why England was so desperate to actually put a tax on something, anything, that it would actually start paying for itself.
Wasn't the main reason for why they started taxing because of the fact that the colonists kind of started a war with the French, which was fought almost entirely with English soldiers.
Yeah, the French-Indian War,
Yeah.
was basically...
They raised taxes to pay for it.
Yep, first they instated a stamp tax, but while that worked fairly well, the colonists immediately started cheating like assholes. They basically turned tax evasion into a cultural mark of pride, more or less. And so the British decided, you know what, let's do something that's easy to keep track of, and that, you know, we really, really should have anyway, because this fucking tea is brought here from the other side of the planet. So, you know, putting just a little bit of a tariff on that, is that okay? Is that okay? Maybe? And the colonists said, no. That is not okay. And then the British said, well, maybe we can work something out. And then the colonists said, no. War. Jeffers, it is true, though, that the British forced the colonists to only buy their tea, but that's because the colonists were trading with the French and the Dutch behind the British back, while, you know, the Brits were in fact at war with the French and the Dutch in other places in the world, which is to be regarded as a bit of a dickish thing to do.
Wasn't the English tea also cheaper?
Well, yes.
Yeah, that's what I was just...
Yeah, actually it was.
The thing was that smugglers of tea basically didn't like that the English Empire was legitimizing the tea trade and making it easily available, so they couldn't sell it at a huge markup anymore. So that's one of the reasons why the Boston Tea Party happened.
Yeah.
It's because of smugglers.
So basically, American colonists, tax evasionists, criminals, venture capitalists, and general assholes. But thank goodness they won their freedom, so they could kill all the Native Americans and finally build that proud nation. Which is all about tax evasion, venture capitalism, and getting away with crimes. America.
Oh, also that textbook that I had spent quite a bit of the time spent quite a bit of its. Well, it spent quite a bit of time talking about how the French were really great and generous and treated all of the Native Americans as their equals.
Jeff Ace, I am not playing the They Were All Rebels cards, come on. We are joking around here. I am fully aware that there were plenty of tourists that decided to side with the British during the Revolution. Same as with pretty much every revolution in the history of mankind, more or less. But the thing is that just like with any other revolutionary movement, most of the time the people that actually get involved and have to fight are generally not really that much in support. There is just generally a upper class support for the revolution, which was very much the case in the case of the Revolutionary War, where it was basically essentially arranged by a rather small group of people, and then once it started picking up momentum, the colonists realized that shit, we sort of have to fight now, because otherwise the British are going to kick our asses when they actually take control of the colonies again. Huh. Oh well. The common man...
That's why I'm defecting back to it.
Yeah, the common man generally does not desire revolution, or at least does not desire to fight in one. But strangely enough, he is always the one who ends up on the front lines.
Why doesn't the president fight the war? Why do they always send the poor?
Because poor people have no value as human beings, haha! But yeah, I've always been of the idea that the United States should just basically put a system in that the nation gets to vote whether or not there will be a war, and every family has a vote, and if you vote for the war, you have to send one of your children to fight in it. and suddenly there will be world peace, because holy shit. I mean, just imagine all these chicken hawk Republicans if they said, okay, sure, you can have your war, but either you or your eldest son has to join the Marines and be part of the first wave.
But I'm rich.
I shouldn't have to do anything, I have money. I'm creating jobs. That, Chef-Ace, I suppose you're right. There are probably some rich families that want to get rid of their less talented children, but they generally do that anyway, I was about to say. I mean, at least that was actually one thing that was better back in the good old days of, you know, absolute monarchy, because, I mean, the king actually sort of had to lead the army because that was his feudal responsibility. So if the king and his nobles wanted a war, they'd damn sure be pretty, you know, ready to fight it, because they were going to be in the thick of things. These days we have career politicians that have never held a firearm in their lives going, well, clearly we need to invade X. And we can send those people over there to do it. Yep, they'll do it. Again, basically what we need to do is send all the politicians to fight. Just put them in a big arena, have them duke it out. Alright, how are we doing for horses? We're doing pretty well for horses, actually.
Arthur, we should do a stream of Stepwolf sometime.
But why? I am the Stepwolf.
It is a fantastic treasure, Arthur. I
don't think so.
The world needs to experience Stepwolf.
But there's a great LP of it on the subforum, damn it.
I suppose so, but I just want to see that.
It's the same that when someone saw the desktop shortcut I had for Crusader Kings 2 in the background and said, "Oh, I would really like you to see you play that," and I just don't understand. Why would you want to see someone play Crusader Kings 2 in real time?
He said as he played Secret of the Magic Crystals.
Well, I mean, this is a means of self-torture, and as I've been telling people, I'm basically only doing this because I refuse to give up. It's just me being an ornery bastard that wants to see the ending screen. I idolize Arino, so I can't give up. And Blondine. Freaking Blondine. Sort of a name is that? There we go. Host Houston, the level 3 horse. And once he's trained up, we'll be set.
It's pronounced Houston.
Oh, sorry. Horston. Maybe stream Mountain Blade sometime. You know what I really should stream? The 1866 mod for the original Mountain Blade, because that is great fun. Because it's the Wild fucking West. And I love that mod, because there's nothing quite like starting a battle and getting headshotted by a guy with a Winchester from the other side of the map.
I was actually wondering if there was like a Wild West mod for Mountain Blade, because I had been reading Blood Meridian.
Yeah, there is.
And I thought to myself, this almost sounds like Mountain Blade, just riding from town to town and taking everything.
Yeah.
And killing everybody.
You can also have these really ridiculous hunting missions, which are really fun, because, I mean, you're riding on a horse with a carbine, and you just ride up alongside these deer, and you just fire like a madman into the pile, killing half a dozen of them. Just like in the good old days.
Is there a problem with my connection? Because it seems like you're sort of breaking up.
Not entirely sure.
Oh, well, do I sound alright?
Yes,
Or-
you sound alright.
Okay, then I'll just ignore it.
And yes, as Anon 8926 brings up, the deer actually have invisible riders because they had to base them on horses. And the only way to actually make them move properly was to use the rider AI. So there are actually invisible Native American ghosts riding on the deer. It's pretty cool. Also, the game quickly gets pretty ridiculous because you have like dozens of guys with rifles and revolvers in a line against several dozens of guys with revolvers and rifles, and they just rush at each other and shoot, and there are bullets flying everywhere, and you're just riding around trying desperately to, avoid getting shot. And then you do one of the missions where you try to take one of the hotels from one of the, bandit bands or something like that, and you're basically just marching up a street against 100 men with repeating rifles. And you realize why that's not how you fought back when repeating rifles was a thing. Still, my character in that mod, in my main save, holy shit, I have so many revolvers in my inventory. I want them all. Because they're
last time.
Yeah, they're historical weapons, and I love classic black powder firearms.
The last time that I played Mountain Blade, I found out how useful lances were. And
Suddenly you realize why medieval warfare looked the way it did.
I killed hundreds of people.
Yep. And Skeleton Age, you jest,
I usually end up being
but that is pretty much one. Sadly, you needed to have ammunition in one of your inventory spaces in order to have it, but you can do what I have done at times, in that I actually have 3 revolvers and 1 item slot of ammo, which means that if you run out of ammunition, you just switch to your next revolver and keep firing, and then the next, so you can fire 18 rounds without reloading. Pretty handy.
Arthur, you didn't use that
there-
revolver that had 24 bullets in it?
No.
I
no,
love
did
that
not.
thing. It was the best, Arthur. Come on.
Is there a scalping mechanic?
No. There is, however, a old guy living out in the middle of nowhere who you can deliver skins and meat and bundles of wood and stuff to, and he will also give you bundles of wood. And that's pretty much all it does. He can teach you skills if he likes you well enough, but in the time it takes him to, do enough stuff for him that he starts warming up to you, you will already have built those skills up by leveling. And yes, Dark Corners, this mod is pretty fun, actually. Shit, let's play some 1866 after this. Can you just start a new character and just go crazy?
Great.
And by go crazy, I mean be really, really careful, because bullets hurt.
If you played Napoleonic Wars, I would definitely join you. I am not very good at Napoleonic Wars at all.
Whoops.
You see, I downloaded that with the impression that there was some kind of single-player element.
Yeah, I did too.
And I was...
I was also disappointed.
The strange thing, though, especially about Mountain Blade Warband, is that all the people making the good mods, they go like single player, and then they try to run away. They're completely obsessed with multiplayer mods. It's like you don't have 900 random people to play with.
1866?
Wow. You're not even human, are you? If your friends list is less than 100 people, you're not actually a person.
I think that there was one mod that took place in the Napoleonic Wars, but I never actually managed to play it because it crashed constantly.
Yeah, there's a World War I mod too, which is hilarious, because people who literally shoot other people in the back of the head in order to gain access to the available machine guns. It's like, no, those are my kills. Fuck you.
Oh, but I would like to tell a story from one of the times when I played Napoleonic Wars.
Please do.
Well, I was climbing a hill, and
Prussians appeared.
30 of them.
All of the Prussians.
I ran like hell, but when I turned around, I saw that my team's fortress was full of Prussians. And then they shot me. And
Yeah.
also
Well,
and the walls of the fortress just disappeared for some reason.
damn Prussians.
That happens when the
Yeah.
Prussians are around, those sneaky bastards.
And one guy was just riding on a horse with his hands and arms straight up into the air. And he was just blocking the breaches in the walls. Like that.
No! You shall not! And then 19 bullets impact with his esophagus at the same time. Stop
And then they
yelling,
just-
asshole.
And their logo was just an American flag.
I see. Seems awfully Napoleonic. Seriously, during the Napoleonic Wars, what the hell was the US even up to?
They were...
We,
Well, Canadians
Go ahead.
burned down the
Shall we know?
White House.
Yeah, I
19
mean, I know about that bit, but... I mean, just in the era between, like, 1790 and 1830, somewhere thereabouts, the only thing that the US did was basically, pick a small fight here and there and keep pushing west.
Yeah, that's... Because that's what
well,
they
we
did.
bought the Louisiana Purchase from Napoleon.
Yeah, I suppose there's that. Which is also one of
It's
those
the only
weird
thing relating
things.
to Napoleon I can think of.
Yeah, it's sort of that's one of those things that I always found sort of strange, why he actually gave up that much land in North America. I guess he wanted to solidify his grip on Europe instead, but still.
Yeah. Wars are expensive, and he wanted to conquer Europe and North America.
But my father insisted that they sold it because the French were too weak to defend those colonies.
Yep, because as we all know, the French have never won a war or anything. They've always just been yellow-bellied cowards that surrender. Oh wait, what's that, the 100 Years' War? Neither side actually gave up for 114 years? Oh, okay.
Oh, I'll be back in like 5 minutes.
I really feel bad for the French in a sense, because, I mean, it's always haha surrender monkeys, but I mean, the tradition, so to speak, of surrender begins with World War II. And that was only because of the politicians pissing themselves. I mean, the French army was well willing to continue fighting, it's just that they were basically betrayed by the civilians. And then the next time they so-called surrender is when they realize that, okay, Vietnam is probably a lost cause, guys. And they leave. And the United States hop in and say, we'll show you how it's supposed to be done. And then the Vietnam War happened. And the French went, well, told you so. And since then it's called freedom fries.